Hello world, Stephen Michael Zach here, and today we're taking a look at the brand new Luxli Timpani 2. That's right, this is the update to the Timpani 1. Now, full disclosure, this was sent out to me for review, but these are going to be my own brutal and honest opinions as always. Now, this panel will cost you $1,100, and while I know for some of my viewers that is a bit steep, what you get in this panel is a premium professional panel. If you're looking to upgrade or you're looking to invest, I highly recommend Luxli. They are a sort of a smaller company, more of a mom and pop company, and y'all know how I like to support smaller companies, and you can check out my Luxli reviews right there. But let's just jump right into this panel and let's take a look at what comes inside the box. Inside the box, you get the light itself, you get your ballast with a V-mount battery attachment, and you get a hanging strap lanyard. You also get your main power cord, which is extremely long, and you get your connector from the ballast to your light. And each of these come with a very nice Velcro strap. And finally, you're going to get this little bag. Now, inside is the handle, and one thing I like about Luxli is they let you decide what side you want to mount the handle onto. You're going to get an Allen wrench, and you're also going to get these other two screws, and these are so that you can use these to mount another V-mount option if you don't want to use the lanyard. It also comes with a manual and your technical information. The barn doors are sold separately. Okay, so attaching the handle is very easy. You want to take your Allen wrench and you want to kind of spin out the big screw that's here. Go ahead and spin that out like so. And pull that out carefully. And then you want to take your lever here, and you're just going to spin that into place. And there we go. You can pull this up and ratchet it in any direction that you want. Okay, so let's take a look at the brand new menu system now. Pressing the button, you'll notice that this thing turns on much faster than the old one, and you get your readout here 100%, you get your Bluetooth, and you get a very, very accurate voltage meter. Now, this tells you how much voltage is being pumped in. And let's talk about this for a moment. Now, say you have a V-mount battery here. Now, not all V-mount batteries are the same. Sometimes you'll buy them on Amazon and they won't be the proper voltage. You'll get something that's 14.8 and it'll be like 10. So let's go ahead and I will show you the hot swap feature, but let's go ahead and swap out the battery here. And let's unplug this. And now we are running on the V-mount battery and we are at a voltage of 13.4. Now, the best thing about this is this actually will tell you pretty much the accurate voltage of your V-mount. Let's go down to about 1% here. And as you can see, this battery is a 14.8 exactly. So you can definitely use this as a voltage meter to check your V-mount batteries to see if the voltage that is listed is the proper voltage. I know with some Amazon batteries, it is not. So there you go. So here we are back on plug power, and you do have your plus minus green, and that goes from 100 negative to 100 plus, which is very, very awesome. I will leave this at 0. And of course you have your buttons here, your selecting buttons. Let's go ahead and hit back to the CCT. And let's take a look. You have from 100% to 0% power. You have 5600 to 10,000, all the way down to 2800 to 2800K, quick button to 32 and to 56, and you have the off button. You can turn that off to 0, back to 100. Anywhere you set this, it is going to go back to where it is, which is very, very cool. Now let's go ahead and hit the mode button, and again, you are in your hue color. You can change this to any hue you want. Pressing the button, you've got your saturation here, and you could also change the white point here, the white planking curve, which is very cool. I'm going to leave that alone for now. Hitting the mode button again, you go into your gels mode. You have 150 Lee gels, the same that are on the old Timpani, so there's no change there. Next, we get this brand new mode, and this is the high frame rate mode. Now, what this is going to do is it is actually going to leave some of the LEDs on. So if you're shooting in super slow motion, you're not going to get that, or high speed, you're not going to get that banding that you get from the camera. And you have cool whites, warm whites, red, greens, and blues. So very, very cool. This is a brand new feature, and I hopefully we'll be able to experiment with it more later on. Next, you get all your special effects, your color chase, you get your CCT chase, your color chase, explosion, fire, fireworks, lightning, paparazzi, pulse, siren, strobe, etc. We're going to cover these in the apps, but you do get your start and stop here. You do get a plethora of controls here. So let's go ahead and hit back. And then hitting the mode button one more time, you are back in your main menu. Now let's hit this bottom one here, that is your gear, and basically this is going to give you your preset list. You can program presets. I have not done that yet. Next is your DMX control, and you do get a lot of DMX controls, and you even get, let's go into your DMX control here. And let's go down to your DMX mode, and you will see that you not only get 8-bit, but you'll also get 16-bit DMX. So for those of you who like DMX, that is there. And then moving down, you get your Bluetooth. You can turn it on or off. Then you get your display, and with the display, you can actually turn down the brightness of the display here. Let's go ahead and hit select, and you can turn down the brightness of the display. I like to leave this where they have it originally, which is at 70, which is very cool, but you can turn it actually off if you need to, which is very cool. And then we go back here, and then you have your about, which is your firmware and your serial number. I'm not going to show you this because I don't want you to have my serial number. And then you can back out of that, and that is the controls. Okay, so let's talk some of the differences between the old and the new. Now, first off, you could see that the new one is a true 1x1 panel, where the original is not. They both have different diffusions. This has the old glass slide-out system, which I will admit I do miss. But there you go. And this has this milky white diffusion. And yes, 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 the red knobs are back. They found a way to put red knobs on this thing. That's kind of a negative. Kind of takes forever to unscrew, and if you are going to take these out, I will tell you right now, you want to screw these right back in. These are made of plastic. I could definitely see these being broken. I see these having to be replaced constantly. So just note that that might be an issue for you. The back is glossy. That goes on the inside. The matte side goes outside on the front. And again, I'm going to take my own vise and put this in here like so. And let's take a look, before we look at the arrays, let's take a look at the back here. Now, first off, the knob has been redesigned. It is much sleeker than the old knob and works beautifully. Very, very nice. Looking at the back here, you can see the redesign. We've lost the V-mount battery is gone for the back. No longer do you have this ridiculous strap and you don't know what to do with this. Now the V-mount is on the ballast here, and we will cover that when we get to that section. So that is a major change. The other major change is now all of the controls are on all the plugs here are on the bottom where they should be, so nothing is pulling and tugging. I hate connections like this. I always feel like this is going to either break the pins or there's a possibility of failure here. So definitely not a fan. So glad that they moved it. And you will also notice that the buttons are very much different. These are indented and they feel far more premium. The rubber knobs feel great. On this, they're a little bit cheaper and clickier. Now, I will admit, I do miss the raised buttons. I have big, meaty fingers, so I like the raised. I understand why they changed it. Obviously, people were accidentally hitting the buttons and changing their settings, so they did sort of indent them, and that's fine. It's really not a problem, just a personal preference. But all in all, it is very, very cool. It looks great. Now, let's take a look at the actual arrays themselves. Okay, so here we have both arrays. Now I'm going to shut off the new one for a second. And now one of the things you will notice is that when you go from 10,000 Kelvin all the way down, first off, this isn't the most, this is pretty good, but you can definitely see that the lights go on right there. And then when you get all the way down to 2800 Kelvin, you can see that there's like a row lit up, then a row not lit up, there's a row lit up, and so on and so forth. So you're not getting the full power of every LED. Now let's take a look at the brand new one here, and let's go up to 10,000 Kelvin here. That helps if I move the right knob. And here we are at 10,000 Kelvin. Now watch what happens when we start to go down. You will notice that every single LED stays lit. You are not losing any power. And as you can see right here, you're getting every single row lit up. So the reason you are getting all the LEDs on this panel is because this panel now is a single chip 5-die RGB AW, which stands for amber and whites. So you're getting a single chip that lights every single row. So you are getting the full potential power of this panel. You are not losing any rows of lights. And of course, amber and white, that's what the AW stands for, and that's going to help with like saturation. You're not going to get like that. You're not going to get that like pinkish kind of color you get when you desaturate with LEDs that aren't this good a quality. So very, very cool. Very excited that this thing does have a lot of power, has a lot of brightness, and a very cool addition. So one last thing I did want to say about this panel is you do get this fantastic handle, which I did not mention earlier, and the construction really is pretty fantastic. I really do love the addition of this. It is a welcome addition at that. Now, another thing I did want to show you is watch how fast the new panel turns on. We hit them both roughly about the same time, and as you can see, the new panel is much faster. Okay, so let's talk about the redesigned ballast, specifically the V-mount battery here. I absolutely love this thing. Now, it does run on both 14.8 and 26 volt batteries, which is super awesome. Not only that, but when you're running off a V-mount battery, you are getting full power. On some lights, when you have a V-mount attached, you're getting 70, 50, 30. On this, you will get full power, which is super awesome. On the others, the readout says 100. It's not. On this, it is. So that is a fantastic redesign. Now, you do get a nice clicky release. You get a cool D-tap on the side here. And let me show you one of my favorite parts of this light, and that is this included lanyard hanging strap. Now, this is fantastic. All you have to do is just attach it like so, and you are good to go. Now, every single company should be doing this. I am not a fan of the Godox ones, those metal things that you kind of pull up and down. They're plastic coated. They never feel like they're going to hold, and the whole ballast just shakes and bobs around because it doesn't quite fit properly on the C-stand knob. You can go ahead and check out my Godox reviews right there if you don't know what I'm talking about. But this hangs beautifully. It does not shake around. This lanyard's fantastic. I think everyone should adopt this system. It is pretty fantastic. Now let's talk about the plugs. You do get a safety plug right here for your power from the actual unit into the ballast here, and we can go ahead and plug that right in, which is very, very cool. Let's go ahead, and hard to do with my glasses on because I'm going blind, but there you go, and it won't come out unless you hit the release here. So very, very cool. Now, one thing that I feel is missing off this light is you do get this what I call the Mickey Mouse plug here, and I really wish that there was a safety cable on this, like the aperture and the Amaran stuff, because you can kind of sort of plug this in, and then I can sort of kind of, with a couple of tugs, pull it right out. So really wish there was some kind of safety there. Now, finally, let's talk about the last feature on here, and that is these two little holes here. Now, what this is for is if you want to if you don't want to use the lanyard and you like the lock-in type mount for the ballast, well, you can go out and get your own. That's right, they've made this customizable, so you can go out and you can get, let's see if I can get the camera to focus on that. You can go out and you can get your own, which is very, very cool. And they have mounting holes here. So super awesome. I really love this. Now, let's take a look at yet another special feature with the V-mount battery here. Okay, so let's check out one more feature with the ballast, and that is the hot swap battery. Now, let's say that you want to switch to a battery. Well, all you have to do is clip on the battery and unplug it. And as you can see, there is absolutely no interruption whatsoever. So if you're on the set and you know your battery's gonna die, you can quickly plug it in like so, and then take off the battery. Again, there is no break in this. It does not shut off. And as you can see, it is completely hot swappable, which is super awesome. So let's say your battery's going, you could swap this even while you are shooting. So a very, very, very cool feature with the Ballast. So let's take a look at these barn doors. Now what you have to do is you do have to line these up with the holes here, like so. And it is kind of difficult and janky. You have to kind of pull down with your fingers here, and it's very hard for me to get my big meaty fingers in here. I really do wish the tabs were longer and there was some rubberized tips here, because it is rather sharp and painful. You have to kind of manipulate this into place. There you go. So it is very, very hard to get this on. The other thing is these feel like these are going to wear out very quickly. They are a bit flimsy. I really wish that this were a little bit tighter. But as you can see, it's not the best, especially this bottom one. This will probably wear out in about 6 months. So not crazy about that either. Just not crazy about how those work. Now, as you can see, there is a ton of light leakage here, and that is a huge problem. So you are going to need some black wrap around this thing, especially when this thing is supposed to be used for blocking light. You're getting a lot of leakage there. And again, taking this off, you really do have to pull these down, and there you go. So it is a little bit easier to take off than it is to take on, and I will say that this is a hand cutting hazard. Even this is very, very sharp, and it's very hard for me to get my big fingers in there. And as you can see, it puts welts in my fingers. I don't know if you can see that, but there are welts in my fingers. So barn doors, not the best. Okay, so let's take a look at the phone app. Now I'm gonna hit look for lights, and immediately this thing finds the lights super quick. Now, I will say next to the Edelchrome app, this is the best app I've ever seen. Just in amount of how fast it connects, and all the stuff and all the features. So let's take a look. I do have the Timpani here set up, and let's go ahead and let's power that on. I do have the original Timpani, and the new one is about 6 feet away, and we're about 20% there. And as you can see, you get control over both. You can jump in between very easily. You can set them up in a group. You can control all here, which is very, very cool. And then you have something called mixed mode, and what that allows you to do is say that I want the Timpani 2 to be, let's put that at 100%. And I want the Timpani 1 to be, let's move that to 24%, and let's go 100% on the, let's go 70%, about 70% on the Timpani here. Now watch what happens when I raise and lower the bar here. As you can see, I'm going to raise it, and the minute that the Timpani 1 hits that 24%, it's going to stop, but my backlight is going to keep going until I hit 70%. So you do get some super awesome control here. Of course, you can control them in groups. You can control them in all. So really a lot of great features here. I really love the fact that you can control them individually. A lot of control here. You could also save some of your presets. Let's go back to mode. Let's turn off Timpani 1. Timpani 1's off, and let's go to Timpani 2. Very, very simple. You see how easy I go back and forth? Now you have single mode, group mode, all mode. We're going to stick with the single mode here. And of course, you can hit the start button, and that'll go into your saved presets. And you can save presets and download presets and upload presets, which I have not done yet. And let's talk about the controls. Now you have basically your simple controls here. You can go to 3200 Kelvin, 5600 Kelvin, or 700 Kelvin. You have your negative, plus minus green and magenta here. And again, if you want to type in any kind of specific brightness, you can just, or value, you can just tap the number and hit done or confirm. And again, let's say I want to do 5600, tap confirm. And there we go. So very, very simple. You can really dial this into exactly what you want. Now moving on to the HSL here. Of course, you have your control here. And I like a nice 240, so we'll tap the number and say 240 and hit confirm. You can set your white point to whatever value you want. I'm not going to mess with that. So pretty straightforward there. Next is the RGB. You get control of your reds, your blues, your greens, and you have color spaces. So if you're working with a certain monitor or certain color space in Adobe, you can use Device Gamut, sRGB, Adobe 1988, Adobe Wide, or Pro Photo. So you really do get a lot of control when you're trying to light and then edit this. Next is the XY value. You're going to get Show Gamut. Again, you're getting the same device, sRGB, both Adobes, the Pro Photo, and let's say we're going to be editing with sRGB. So we're going to hit sRGB, and this is going to let you know that anything within this triangle is going to be accurate. If you go outside the triangle, then you're going to have some problems coloring. So very cool that they give you that option. Next is the gels mode. I don't think we need to talk about that. It's exactly the same. You've got all the gels you could possibly want and need. Let's go back to, and then next starts the effects menu. And as you can see, the effects menu has a lot here. First off, you have your CCT chase, and you do have a start stop button up top here. And you can control your start, your stop values, your reds, your greens, do minutes or seconds. Again, lots of controls. Then you have your CCT chase, which you have to hit stop and start for. We have the explosions here. We have their fantastic fire mode. Now this is one of the reasons why I invested in Luxli, is they have one of the best fire effects I've ever seen on a light. You have candle, you have campfire, you have bonfire, you have no wind, breeze, windy, storm. So a lot of control here, which is very, very cool. And let's go ahead next to fireworks. And again, fireworks, you can control the explosions per minute, the duration of the explosion, the intensity, very cool. And I'll blast in different colors, which is great. Then you have the lightning, paparazzi, you get pulse, you get siren, which has red, blue, white, red, blue, red, white, blue, all the stuff, and it even has amber safe, which is very, very, very cool. And then finally, you have strobe. Now, let's talk about the last effects here. Let's talk about the last effect in this menu, and that is something called dimming. Now, this is a brand new effect, and I really, really love it. Let's say I want to start my intensity at, let's say we'll start the intensity at 20 here, 20%, and we're going to go to 0. Let's go to 0%. Now, and I'll keep the duration at 3. I can change the duration. Now, watch what happens when I hit the start button. As you can see, you get beautiful, beautiful dimming. Now let's change this to 0, and let's change this to, let's hit stop, and let's change this to 20. And then let's hit start again. And as you can see, you have fade ups and fade downs. That is absolutely beautiful. I love this effect. It is really awesome. You could definitely put this like outside a window and do kind of like daylight, like day for night kind of blending up, which would be very cool. Then you have yet another effects menu. And in this effects menu, you have your television. Again, with lots of controls. You have your bad bulb, which works really, really well. And then you have passing clouds. So you could actually have this outside and make it look like clouds are passing overhead on your actor's face. Very, very cool. Some really, really nice, very interesting special effects. Next is the sequencer, and I'm not going to go into the sequencer. There is a fantastic video that Luxli puts out, so definitely go check that out. Look at Luxli sequencer. They have a great video on that. And then finally, you get the camera, and I could just snap a picture of a color and double tap, and there you go. It's basically a color picker. So very, very, very cool. You get some fantastic controls. Once you add this phone app, this panel becomes even more feature-packed. So let's talk about cons for a moment, and the big con, let's talk about the elephant in the room. These barn doors are not my favorite. I am not thrilled with these. Not only are they a cutting hazard here, but it's very hard for me to get my fingers into this very small space. It's very hard to pull these down, and then you've got to kind of manipulate this with your other fingers here. Let's take a look here and spin this around here, and I'll just show you. You got to kind of line this up. like so, and then you gotta kind of pull these down, but line them up. Very difficult to get in. I am getting better as I do it more and more, but it's still very difficult. There are welts on my fingers. I don't know if you can see that. And what's weird is the fact that these kind of fold. Usually panels, these fold in and then the top folds down. This is for some reason reversed. And one other thing is that is super floppy. I have a feeling within 4 to 6 months this is going to fail. And unfortunately there's no way to tighten this except taking a wrench and squeezing it. So I really, really, really wish that they had done something else with the barn doors. Another problem with the barn doors is the fact that there's massive light leakage here. You're going to need some black wrap, especially when you're adding the barn doors to control the light. There's just way too much spill. I really wish they did some kind of like magnetization or some other kind of system. So again, not really thrilled with the barn doors at all. Let's go ahead and take these off. It is getting easier, but it still hurts. So not really thrilled with the barn doors. The next negative with the panel, the red knobs are back. As many of you know, these used to have these old the original panels used to have these old red knobs that everybody hated and they had to replace. Well, they found a way to bring them back. Again, these take forever to unscrew, and these feel like they're plastic and they're small. They're gonna get lost. They're gonna get broken. Luxli is going to be replacing a lot of these. So just know that if you're taking the diffusion out, you are going to want to immediately screw these back in. I really wish that they had incorporated what they incorporated on the new cellos with the new diffusion. I really wish that they had made this done some kind of magnet system here where you just slap this in and slap it off. They do it for the cellos. I really think that's a missed opportunity here. So I would have loved to have seen some kind of magnetized diffusion. That would have been great, since they are sort of the pioneers in magnetizing diffusion. So not crazy about that. And then the last thing I'm not crazy about, which is really just more of a personal issue, and that is the new knob design. I miss the knobs that were raised. I understand why they changed them. Really, it's just a personal preference. People were obviously accidentally hitting them and changing their settings. And I don't have a problem with getting my fingers in here. They are a little bit indented. It's fine. They feel far more premium than the original. The knobs feel great as well. So not a real problem, just sort of a personal preference. Now from the cons to the pros, let's talk about the panel. Now first off, the single chip 5-die LEDs, the RGBAW is fantastic. You get full output, full power. It is great. You get a very nice diffusion. You have a true 1x1. The build quality is excellent. I really love this. I guess it's metal. I'm gonna say it's metal. It feels metal. The added handle on the back is fantastic. The newly designed ratchet knobs are great. The buttons feel far more premium and work really well. You're getting the same fantastic screen. Love the fact that all the connections now here are on the bottom here. That is absolutely fantastic. You're not gonna get, unless you get it wrapped up like I just did, you're not gonna get the pulling. These are just gonna lie straight down. That is great. And again, the V-mount battery, probably my favorite part about this is the ballast here, the newly designed ballast. Every company should be doing a lanyard like this. I love this. It works beautifully. It's adjustable. It doesn't flop around too much. Again, I love the fact that the ballast, you can use 26 volt or 14.8 volt, and it is hot swappable, which means you could have a V-mount battery in here, pull out the plug, and it'll still work. And you can put in a plug, swap out the V-mount, put another V-mount in, pull the plug, and there's going to be absolutely no break in the power output. So that is a huge plus. So you can swap out the battery while you're filming, which is very, 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 very cool and a huge plus. Now, let's talk the phone app. There are so many new controls with the phone app. The phone app is fantastic, loaded with controls. I'm not going to go through all of them. You saw earlier how power-packed this thing is, and also the fact that this has the new high frame rate mode, so you can actually do your slow motion and not have that banding. Really super awesome that they included that as well. So I think that's it. Those are my thoughts, but I want to know yours. So leave your questions and comments in the notes below. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to mash that bell button to be notified when we drop a brand new video. And feel free to use the links below as it helps out the channel. I'm Stephen Michael Zach, and this is new to me.